What's goody? It's about damn time. James Harden got traded again. Honestly, I knew this trade was coming for a while. If you've been keeping up with the James Harden reports, he's been unhappy in Philadelphia, but no other teams besides the Clippers were even interested in offering anything for James Harden besides the Houston Rockets, who offered him a max contract apparently before he said he was trying to get back to MVP Harden, and that's not the style of basketball they wanted to go with going forward, so they dropped that. Rumored. I'm not sure if that's 100% true or not, but that's what I heard. Regardless of that, yeah, James Harden is a Clipper. I'm going to talk about the basketball side, and then we'll get more into Harden after that. So from a basketball standpoint, I'm not entirely sure how well this trade is going to work, especially because when you look at who they traded a lot of pieces, and to be fair, none of them are as good as Harden or a piece that the Sixers were looking for in Terrence Mann, but all of those pieces had a really, really good spot on the Clippers, and they served a role. They played great defense, they brought energy, and they made their team really deep. Without that bench depth, I think they're going to struggle just a little bit, especially meshing, because you're going to have to hide Harden on defense, respectfully. I saw flashes from Westbrook that he's going to be playing some pretty decent defense going forward. PG, always been a good defender. Kawhi, always been a good defender. Zubats is a good defender. So in the starting five, when you plop James Harden in at the 2, it shouldn't be too much of an issue on the defensive side of the ball because you have a lot of guys to hide him. But they had even more. They traded guys like Nick Batum. They traded guys like Robert Covington, who could all slide in. And you could take PG out, take Kawhi out, put them in, and the defense would not miss a beat. But when you trade Harden and you trade away a lot of your defensive guys off the bench, it's not the best look. It's not. They also traded 2 picks in that deal. I don't think Harden is worth 2 picks, especially because he's on the last year of his deal. I'm not sure why they would make this move, especially because the Clippers had all the leverage. They didn't have to put a trigger on anything. I feel like they gave up a lot for Harden just for their team. I'm not sure how those same pieces are going to fit on the Sixers, but for their team and how they were used, I think they gave up a lot of players. I'm going to try to go look for the full trade so I can give you guys a better look on who they traded. So the Clippers traded away Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, Marcus Morris, and multiple draft picks. I think those draft picks included a first, 2028 unprotected first round pick, 2 second round picks, and a pick swap. And I'm just looking at that trade. I think y'all gave up a lot. You gave up Marcus Morris, you gave up Robert Covington and Nick Batum, all good defenders. You can all slot them in at that 3-4 position, and I think you're gonna miss out on that. Those are a lot of guys who I think could really make an impact on the defensive side of the ball. And when I was talking about James Harden going to the Clippers before, I was expecting for it to be a Terrence Mann for James Harden straight up kind of deal, and I think that would have been more beneficial for the Clippers, to be completely honest. I'm not sure why they value Terrence Mann so highly. I know Terrence Mann is a good player, but if you're going to make this move, especially for another guard, because Terrence Mann is a guard, if you're going to make a move for another guard, I don't see why not just go full throttle into your win now mode instead of keeping Terrence Mann around, and that's not really going to benefit your team. Not saying Terrence Mann's not going to benefit them, but I think with what they're trying to go for right now with this lineup of Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi, PG, having those guys off the bench to play you some defense would really give you a huge lift. Not saying Terrence Mann does not, because he is a decent defender, but I'm just saying from the perspective of you're going to need those wings. Every team is going to need wings, and that's a lot. You just gave up all of your wings, honestly, and that's a lot for James Harden, especially now. Off the bench, they're going to have Norman Powell. They're going to still have Terrence Mann, but I definitely did like what they would have had if they kept a lot of their wing depth. And now we can talk about the offensive side of the ball, and I'm really confused on how it is going to work, because Westbrook's going to need the ball to be effective. Harden's going to need the ball to be effective. PG can play off ball, but he's most effective on ball. And Kawhi can also play off ball, but he's most effective on ball. The only player in the starting 5 who I'd say can fully work off ball is Zubats, because he's the center. So I'm just looking at this team. There's a lot of mouths to feed. This is one of the teams with the most mouths to feed I have ever seen. You see KD, Kyrie, Harden, at least that's 3 people. You see Book, KD, and Beal, at least that's 3 people. Here you got 4 of them. You got 4 of them. 4 guys I'd say Harden has a pretty big ego as well, and if he's not getting his touches, I know he's going to be upset. So I'm not sure exactly how that offense is going to mesh with each other. Maybe I'm overthinking it, and those are some of the greatest players of all time. Those four are some of the greatest players of all time, and maybe they'll just figure it out. But I'm not sure plopping big names onto a roster at the expense of your depth, not knowing how your offense is going to look, is the best plan, especially since the Clippers look good already. I'm not sure what the deal really brought them. I feel like this was very lateral. I don't think they're going to get too much better. I don't think they're going to get too much worse either. I think they're going to pretty much be in the same position that they were already in. But besides that, I also wanted to talk about Harden himself. Harden is the biggest diva in the NBA. James Harden is what the NBA media tries to make Kyrie Irving out to be. Harden, when he gets disgruntled, he's going to ask for a trade. He's asked for 4 trades in the last 3 years. He's been on the Rockets, he's been on the Nets, he's been on the Sixers, and now he's been on the Clippers. So it's just a bad look. It's a terrible look. He's been on 4 different teams since the start of the 2020 decade. He's asked out of all of those teams in situations where he's played with great players. If you look at James Harden's resume right now and the people he's played with Kyrie, he's played with Russ 3 different occasions, KD 2 different occasions, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Joel Embiid. How much more talent do you need to get it done? I'm just very disappointed in James Harden. I'm looking at him and I'm just like, man, if the Clippers don't get it done, bro, I don't have a ton of respect for you as a player at this point, because as soon as you exited your prime years, you started ring chasing, trying to go from place to place to place immediately. And I felt like, yes, you lost with Joel Embiid, and you guys did not give your best performance in the playoffs, but that should be all the more reason that you'd want to run it back instead of just going and making this big fuss. And I understand that Daryl Morey did do James Harden bad. He definitely did not give James Harden what he promised. But if we're being transparent, would you give James Harden a max contract after last season? Would you give James Harden a max contract after the season before? Because he got traded to the Sixers the season before, played out the season, and he didn't look that good then either. So I'm just asking the question, is it really worth it to give James Harden a max contract? The Sixers said no. I'd say no. So now we're here. He's on the Clippers. Shoot, I hope it does work out. I hope they're nice. I hope Westbrook and Harden can get their rings. But, oh, and another thing, this is going to be the most injury-prone squad ever. Harden's been getting hurt a lot recently. PG's always gotten hurt a lot. Kawhi's always gotten hurt a lot. So there's a chance that 3 of your 4 guys may not be on the court. The only person that I'm confident will play a lot of the games is Westbrook and Terrence Mann. So there's also that aspect, the injury aspect, which is always an issue with the Clippers, and this trade did not make it any better for them, to be completely honest. So that's the trade, man. That's the trade. Going forward, the Clippers are going to have this squad, and the Sixers, they got all that wing depth. I think that's going to help them a lot. Their defense is going to look really, really good. Tyrese Maxey, now that he's the clear number 2 option on that team, I think he's really going to hone in on that. He could have an all-star or even an all-NBA season. Those first couple of games from him, he looked absolutely amazing. Tyrese Maxey masterclasses out of him, so I'm expecting a lot from him. I don't think the Sixers are going to be too bad this season. If Tyrese Maxey could keep it up, and if Kelly Oubre could keep it up, Tobias Harris could step up a little bit, and Joel Embiid could continue to be the MVP type of player he is, I think the Sixers will still be a good team in the East. They don't have much to worry about if they all stay healthy and they all show up. So yeah, I can't really believe that James Harden really did this 3 different occasions, but here we are, man. Here we are. It's going to be a real interesting season, bro. It's going to be a real interesting season. Catch you on the next one.